No.
Are we ready?
We're in, mate.
Here we go. So a man that needs no introduction, Josh Bryceland. Here we are. Well, where are we? There's a good question. That'll start the ball rolling.
We're in the heart of the peaks. We're in Macclesfield. We've got Bergtech HQ's recently moved here. It's where Sam Dale grew up.
Yep.
There's an incredible riding scene locally.
And for those old school people out there, have you heard of the Mac lads?
Yeah, I have. and some of our other bands which are really gnarly.
Yeah, we listened to that on the way up here. Mac bands, Sweaty Betty. So,
No Sheep Till Buxton as well.
Right. Yeah, it's not
belters,
very politically correct. So yeah, check that out, Mac lads. So that's on your playlist, is it?
Yeah.
Good,
Every day.
Yeah, it's a bit naughty.
Beer and sex and chips and gravy.
There we go. So here we are, Bergtech HQ. I've known you for a long time, since you were as tall as me.
Probably smaller, mate.
You were, so I've seen some.
I reckon.
I've seen some photos of you and Danny Hart and Joe Smith on the podium at a Dragon, and you all three of you look like you're about 10 years old, but probably juvenile. So I think, I don't know. I can't remember when I first saw you. I did look at some race results. And
I've been around since I was 10ish. I did start racing when I was 10. Because
So
Dad put.
Where did it all begin with your dad? Because your dad's a major influence on you. He was always at the races. He was always
Big time, yeah. He,
what was his background?
His was motocross, really. He come from the motocross side of it. Well, got into that late, but one of his good mates who he rode a lot with was Kiffo, who was Petey's mechanic.
Yeah.
So I just buzzed off Dad. Whatever Dad did, I wanted to do, but
Of course.
couldn't ride motorbikes, so ride mountain bikes all week. Kiffo sorted me out with a GT, and I was like...
So when you say Kiffo, we're talking, this is Andy Kiffin, who was Steve Pete's mechanic for...
Through the heydays, the GT era, and onto Orange for a bit. And
for a long time. So now Andy Kiffin, remind me, used to do, or still lives on a canal boat, or had a canal boat?
I live on his boat as well. I bought his boat off him.
So you bought up on a canal boat? Or?
Yeah.
So and you lived next door, the next berth along from Kiffo?
Well, he's a couple of miles down the canal, so we used to cruise down there. We'd have a little campfire, put me in the wheelbarrow next to the fire. Yeah. We'd all get drunk and stoned and then cruise back later on. I remember just like chilling in the front of the boat, cruising back up, and then used to do it all the time.
Because I used to love your dad at the races, because he was always just, you know what, other people's dads were a bit intense, a bit crazy, and your dad was just like, any more relaxed, he'd have been laying down in the car park. You know, I mean, how did he, I say, control you? At the race, I want to talk about your racing career and stuff like that, but he was pretty relaxed, wasn't he? He wasn't beating you with a big stick.
I think behind closed doors he was probably a little bit more stern, because he always wanted the best for me, and if I ever stepped out of line, he'd let me know. And he put so much into it. Like initially we'd just race motocross at weekends and do every now and then a mountain bike race, but once I started doing a bit better at mountain bike races, he committed so many weekends to just taking me, and he didn't really ride when we went mountain biking. So yeah, he put years and years in of countrywide just driving, and even Europe once we started. Yeah. I think when I was 15 I started going to Portugal and stuff for races, so
yeah,
put some serious time in, mate. Yeah, exactly.
You were doing those, yeah. You were making that effort, making the travel.
Yeah, so he was like motocross really, but had the mountain bike links through his friends, so always got me on a good bike, and Matt looked after me.
There you go. See, I remember you at Innerleithen, and I've got a lot of stories about Innerleithen in Scotland. Great tracks, and winter series when we used to go up there with. Everyone used to go up. Stu Hughes, Mark Beaumont.
The Wet Wild Winter Series was the place to go, wasn't it?
And they timed it with a stopwatch, but no one cared, you know. And it was. Did we even walk up?
We had to push up.
Yeah, we
snowed
up.
Most of them, didn't it?
Yeah.
You had to push up.
And we used to have to walk to the top, you know. I even think I had a water bottle on my bike then.
You needed it.
You
Big
needed
time.
it. But you know, I remember back then, and I think my best story from you at Innerleithen is you were riding with Petey. So this was before. No, before that, I was working for Descent World with Johnny Beckett, and I tried to get you on the team. The Descent World Syndicate was the team. Now, I don't know if someone pinched that syndicate name. I don't know, and I'm not going to say anything. I'll leave that one to the lawyers. But, yeah, we tried to sponsor you, and then you were like, no, sorry, Petey's asked me, and you joined the Royal team. And I don't know if it was that year or the year after, whatever, but we were in Lebanon. I don't know if you know this story. And you came down, because you used to race those winter series, and you were annoyed. You were pissed with yourself if you didn't win. You were racing like juniors. If you didn't win the overall time, you were angry. Is that right?
Yeah.
That was your goal.
Getting on later in the
in the junior
junior
category,
for sure. I wanted fastest time of the day.
And then one year we were there. I can't remember if it was a winter race or it was a national. And you came down in seeding, and you were riding with Petey. And Petey came up to me. He went, Si. I was like, what? He said, Bryceland's won fastest in seeding over, and this was overall. And I was like, yeah. Bloody hell, good, isn't it? Is the timing right? And I went, yeah, like he said, can you check it?
I do remember this.
He got me to check it. I didn't know if you knew this story.
I do remember. I was well upset.
And then it was like he doubted you. Do you know what I mean? And he doubted the timing or whatever. And then Warner chipped in. Warner was there, and Warner said, because you know what I mean, you probably weighed about 6 stone. He said, and I know it was a steep technical track if I remember right. And it was, I think, probably wet as well. That Warner said that because you're lighter, you could brake later. You could carry more speed into the corners, and then obviously your power to weight ratio.
Yeah.
You could get going.
So tight up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's so many trees you're like nibbling in and out.
Yeah.
Of.
So I'm glad you know that story then.
Yeah, I remember it, man. I remember Dad coming up to me and being like, someone said the timing's wrong. And me going from up here thinking, yes, I've got a mint time, to just being like, oh, crushed.
So when was the time was that the time you thought, hold on, I've got something here? When was the time? Was there a moment when you were like, hold on?
Never when you're younger, mate. Never. I still don't even feel like that now, really. I think it was probably a week after winning my World Cup where I was like, that was nice. I've completed a big goal. You know what I mean? But it's like anything. I mean, you never feel like you've done it. There's always a little bit more you could be. You know what I mean? Never think, oh yeah, I've made it. Like downhill, one race you can be doing well, and the next week you have your best run and you're 10 seconds off. So it's one of them.
Because I remember, we used to race the Dragons. Jason Carpenter.
The Dragons were mint,
and I was looking back at some results, and like, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Mindy, which is round the corner from Black Mountains.
Yeah.
Have you been Black Mountains?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That haunted pub there, what's it called?
Skirried Inn.
Yes.
I stayed there with Warner, and Warner, we know what Warner's like. Warner was bricking it.
I bet he was. He's a flapper, isn't
there
he?
was some judge, and it was like they'd hung like 500 people there.
Yeah.
Like
on the stairway.
On the stairway, and we were stood on the stairway, and it was creaking away as well. And Warner was absolutely. He was like, "I'm staying upstairs." He was like, "I think he wanted me to share a room with him." He was. He said he had a bad night's sleep. He was absolutely bricking it. But that Mindu track, like I looked at some of the results. And even like people like Joe Smith that was in the category, but you were winning by 45 seconds, like a massive margin. I know it was a big track, probably
techie, wasn't it? Real
4, 5
techie
minute track, but still a fast track as well. And you were winning there by that. I'm gonna say you were in youth, but you were winning by 45 seconds. And a couple of those, you were doing well, a big margin. So I saw that then. This guy, Josh Bryceland here, he's the man. So. There you go. So we roll on forwards, and a fantastic racing career. Had a bit of an ankle problem at one of them. What year was that? When was that?
14, end of 14.
Super season. Now that must have messed you up. Going in.
Oh man, it was a very pivotal time in my life. It was mad, like going from all the buzz of winning what I'd set out to win so many years ago, being a goal, and then having the injury at the World Champs and like putting such a mad spin on it, totally evaluating it in a different way. Like, is this really what I want to be doing? And from then on, I never really felt that comfortable racing downhill again. It was mad.
I think race fans see that, people I speak to go, that was a point in his life where he went, obviously it's an injury to contend with, but it's like, I've had a bad ankle injury, and it's like, it does put you off I was skateboarding. It was like, what, I never got back to where I was.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and the thing was, I had such a big rehab to focus on, but it was a pretty intensive 6 months getting back for the World Cup the next year in Lords. It was touch and go whether I'd make it. And then I did, and I got through that season all right. But I don't know. Yeah, I just remember thinking, like, I'd rather be 5th or 20th or fucking last than my foot being looking the way it is right now, because it was so bent up, man. It was disgusting.
Just twisted away. I like to talk to you about, World Cups, and you've had some experiences there, on the track and off the track. One thing I'd like to ask you, because you're not very good at the national anthem, are you? Are you?
Better than G.
Because that was funny. I thought that was hilarious.
I know, but to be fair, I think I definitely rubbed him up the wrong way, and that was the start of a chain of events, really. So.
Because you just said to him, what did you say to him? What, don't worry, bro, I don't know the words either.
Something like that.
And he just went, and you were like...
I was mic'd up though, wasn't I? And buzzing. It's such a fun... When you've just done well in a race, you can't really be held accountable for what you say because you're full of yourself. You know what I mean?
But, so you've done the training. If you won the World Champs again or the World Cup, would you know the words to the national anthem?
I'd have a good go. Farmer John got me a T-shirt with them printed on.
Did he?
Yeah.
So yeah, G Atherton. Yeah, I don't want to go into too much. There was an incident, wasn't it, where it's all kicked off about... Didn't you dislocate a finger or something?
Oh, there's been... Well, like I said, that sort of podium incident, I think me being a bit of a mouthy fucker. And I was mic'd up, so it went to everyone. And it's one of them. That started a whole chain of events, what didn't really end well for either of us. But
no. And how's relationships now? You
good, mate.
Good friends
good.
now, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say fucking good friends just because I don't see him much.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't, because he's World Cup and whatnot. But went to Hardline, got the invite to Hardline this year, went for it, fucking rad event, absolutely mint event. And
but you never raced in the end, did you?
No, because I didn't really go for the race. I just wanted to ride massive jumps with the boys.
Yeah.
And what a sick track and place. It's wild out there. So yeah, tick the boxes, did all the jumps. Got some nice pictures.
There you go.
Nice one, Red Bull, that'll do.
And went home safe.
And it rained like fuck, man. We did qualifying run and there was ruts up lips and you're jumping a hip 30 foot through the trees and you're sliding on the lip. I'm like, it was mint in the dry because it was rideable and it was fun. But when it got like that and you're trying to race, I was like, this is a recipe for disaster. I'm gone are my racing days.
There you go.
I'll leave it to the fast lads.
You mentioned energy drinks there. You were sponsored by a big energy drinks company.
I was.
And I'm sure they were giving you hard-earned cash, pound notes.
Well...
And at a young age,
when
lots of publicity, and are still a good part of your, in a strong part of your career, you turned that down. You walked away from that. Yeah,
well, I did, but I had represented it for a number of years prior to that, happily taking my money.
Yeah.
So it's one of them, you can get on your moral high horse and be like, yes, I walked away from that, but I also did represent it for a long time, and it's one of them. It's a tough situation. I think a lot of people in action sports, we're lucky in mountain biking, or I'm very lucky in mountain biking because I don't need that to subsidise my income anymore. But when I was first riding for Santa Cruz, I was getting $9,000 a year. The conversion rate was pretty much half.
Yeah.
So coming out with $4,000 a year. You know what I mean? Then Monster offer you $1,000 to wear the helmet and an extra $1,000 if you then win world champs as a junior.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fucking bite the hand off. But then obviously as time goes on, you get more educated, you realise the influence you have on people, and you see a direct thing, kids coming up stoked with a Monster sticker and wanting drinks and all that, and it's like, time's been and gone, thanks.
Need to brush your teeth, kids.
Brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth twice a day, at least. Well, that's interesting. And then talk about ethics and stuff. Now, there was a lot of talk about Claudio saying, he's stopping racing World Cups, his carbon footprint, travelling around on planes and stuff. And there was and then it sort of seemed, I don't know, the rumours were that, no, hold on, you were a bit miffed about him saying that. And
what I was miffed at, what I was really miffed at was what a fucking snaky Claudio was. Because I was in a transitional period in my life, World Cup's not for me, but I've just spent my entire life learning how to go fast down hills. Yeah. and now here I am. What do I make of it? So then people were hearing I was going to stop racing World Cup, so a lot of teams were talking to me, finding out what I was up to, and I was also feeling around because I didn't know how Santa Cruz was going to react and blah, blah, blah. So Claudio was like, oh yeah, I'd love to chat to you regarding next year, I've got some great plans and all this. And then gets me into his truck, tells me some big story how he's mates with Elon Musk. I'm going to get a Tesla-powered race team, we're going to be carbon neutral, blah, blah. And so I just had a big chat with him, and I was like, thought we were having a team manager confidential chat here. Yeah. Next minute he goes out on my live feed where I hadn't said anything yet, and the main thing was Santa Cruz signed their contracts on the longevity of a racer, and I was still I was 1 year into a 3-year contract to race World Cup. So Fox, Maxis, all them people have signed up thinking that I'm going to be racing World Cup and paid into the team. Yeah. So then Santa Cruz hadn't told any of their sponsors yet. So they're like, well, if we figure out what you're doing, we'll just not say anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. Then Claudio goes on, announces to the world that I'm going to stop racing to ride on a bike made of weed and all this bollocks, just talking shit, which is funny, it's funny, but at the time it was way more personal that, and there was a lot of things being said. And I just thought, you sneaky fucker, that was so below the belt, like, doing it that way. But I have had a word with him and told him I thought that, so it's all calm. But that was a relief, that was how it went, so I was just like, not cool.
See, that made me think you might come back with you being the man doing the track previews. That'd be a good job for you. Now, talking of Roscop, I got something for you. Bear with me. You're going to like this one. Because Roscop used to be a shit-hot skateboarder, didn't he? Do you...
Is that where that's from?
You should use this song in one of your...
Was this in... What video is it from? Not one of him cruising down the big UCSC road.
The video
Wheels of Summit.
It's Wheels of Fire.
Yeah, was it that
Scott
video?
Dietrich, 1988 or something like that. Raging Waters, the big half pipe that went round. It was at a water park in California or somewhere with Christian Hosoi. It's probably the best vert skate video ever because they just go. It's a beautiful sunny day and they just go. Christian Hosoi was the man. Do you know what I mean? He just goes so high, and then Rob Roscott was there. Yeah, he's in the video. He's fully featured in it, and he's skating the vert as well. Doesn't quite make that 540 though. The McTwist. They kind of edit that a little bit, but he was a legend in skateboarding. Do you know what I mean? And his graphics as well. The Roscott graphics on the bottom of the board were amazing. But talking to Roscott, now there was an interview with him, and he was emotional. Did you hear that? Did you?
Yeah, oh yeah, for
Dude,
sure.
like, without sounding rude, it sounded like a grown man was crying there. He was upset. Like, how did that, you know, when you spoke to him, you know, I mean, what was that relationship with Roscott?
A special one, really. I mean, the guy, he looked after me like a kid from when I signed with Santa Cruz. I used to go stay at his house every winter, and I love his kids and his wife. They're a really nice family. They do mean a lot to me, and that was the thing. It was like, it wasn't on some personal level, my change. Like, it's super hard. That made it harder because I buzz off so many of the Santa Cruz employees, and obviously I've ridden for that long. It's like I do know a lot of them really personally, and it's more than just like a work thing. So that was tough, especially hearing Rob, you know, put that out. It was like, yeah, that's fucking emotional. It does strike deep, but at the same time, his baby is the downhill team. Yeah. And once I wasn't racing downhill, there was a lot less communication from him, and I hadn't really spoken to him for probably way over 6 months before the phone call of me explaining to him what I was going to do. And it obviously came out with blue to him because he hadn't, you know, we don't chat that much. Yeah. So it was a big surprise to him. But if, you know, that's all I will say. Yeah. Draw your own conclusion. But, you know, it was one time when we used to text weekly, how's your training, how's this, don't race downhill anymore. cool, don't really get much contact. It's one of them.
So we
I
know
maybe
that-
shouldn't say that. We'll see
So
how
we-
that sounds, Nick.
Sounds all right. He's a nice guy. So we know that like Roscott was a huge influence, and so was your dad. The next biggest influence on you,
Petey Dog.
the big man himself, the governor, the boss, Petey. You know, what was his advice? What was he saying to you? Did you liaise with him? Did you say, look, I'm thinking of dropping it. I'm going to go my own way. I'm going to do this and that. Did you get any sort of
Not really.
input from him?
No, I didn't. Steve helped me so much with all this, but I can't tell you. I really can't. Over years with negotiating and how to speak to people and all the rest of it, he's been so instrumental in my learning and how to do it all. But no, this I think I've been a few years sort of negotiating all that stuff on my own, and it wasn't. I knew his opinion and I knew what he'd think about it, and
Was he trying to say
none of them can see it from my side because they don't walk in my shoes. So it's one of them. I knew I'd get a skewed opinion, and you still do. When I read his interview on Pinkbike, and he said, I wish him all the luck, he's going to fucking need it riding that bike or whatever. I was like, no fucking way if you drop that. You know,
I did read that. I was like, oh.
I know, so that's where we're at now. The relationship has evolved into something entirely different. But
A good bit of banter.
Exactly.
But there you go. So, you know what, I went to Petey's thing, he did his tour. It's all finished. Yeah, it's all finished now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I went to his first one in Malvern, which was really good. How long
milk every last drop tour, is that what we call it?
he's milking it. Yeah, he was selling them books off as well for a 10 spot. Do you know what I mean? Sign it in the
Back of a van full of old merch.
But there we go. Are we ever going to see a Josh Bryceland talk?
No. Not in a hurry, mate.
Not in a hurry.
I'm not a big speaker, you know me.
You're only 28. Maybe another 10, 15 years' time.
Wait till we're really skint for that one, I reckon. I'll have to really need some money.
So when you are really skint, would you then... we've seen Petey, Petey's products, some good stuff in there, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. Big shout out to Petey's products.
We've seen the Aftertons now. They've got their own bike company. Will we see in 15 years' time a Bryceland bike rolling down the street?
I highly doubt it.
Some kid doing a wheelie on it?
I highly doubt it, to be honest, but I feel like it's just nice. We're doing a lot more collaboration stuff these days. I've got my bar, obviously, with Berg Tech.
Come on then, let's get the bar out.
Cue
The bar.
Cue the bar.
$64.99.
Oh no, I've just scratched them up, Brannies.
800
69.
Oh, 69 quid.
69. 68, I owe you one.
What's the rise? 38
8 mil. 38 mil.
I only know this
big
because
dogs.
I was reading Pinkbike this morning.
Been doing his research.
800 mil wide. That's interesting, because you're 6'2", a bit taller than me. A lot of talk, recently Sam Hills, Pinkbike did an article on the bar width and stuff, and most bars now come in 800 mil wide, but people are cutting them right down. And it was interesting to see some of the top races where we think they're on 780s, 800s, and they're down on 760s, 765, 770s. You're sticking with the 800.
Yeah. I did used to cut, when we first started getting wider, I eased my way out to 800, but yeah, it's just something I've always liked the feel of. I think I rode a lot of motocross when I was younger, and they're wide, aren't they? And it probably isn't optimum for strength. The only reason I've considered in recent times cutting my bars down, because a lot of the people I ride with cut the bars down, and I reckon it's easier to get a table. Because you're not getting a big T-shirt hook or something on an 800.
So what are the youths? What are the youths riding? The young lads on the team, are they?
760, I think.
They're keeping it. Well, I say narrow, but you can't even say that's narrow.
It's not even narrow, is it? Because it's so wide than they used to be.
Yeah. When I remember bars at 7, a wide bar was 720.
Yeah.
So now they're 760. You're sticking with.
Yeah. I mean, I'm open to change, but they feel so good out the box. I've never bother getting the saw out.
No more selling. Let's put them there. Might take them home with me. Get the axe saw out. So that leads nicely onto the team then. You've got some good guys. I did a little bit of research because I had to.
You've been poking about on Instagram.
I've been poking around. Roots and Rain, good website for stats. Dave, Sam Hockenall. Why is his name Dave?
Real long story.
Keep it short, we ain't got time.
His brother been working with someone called Dave all day, had enough of him, sick to death, comes home. Dave hadn't done something, and I think his brother had just had that much aggression built up from Dave. For fuck's sake, Dave, you or whatever. And then we called him Dave just out of the blue, no matter it, Dave. So now he's Dave, Sam, Dave, no one knows. Confusing.
But he was a good racer. 6 wins, 24 races, 16 top 5 appearances. He's doing all right, the boy.
Yeah, and he's not really a racer, to be fair. I remember taking him to the first time for Langolan like 4 or 5 years ago when he first got a bike.
For a race or for?
No, just literally riding, and he was coming down with his front brake on, crashing over berms and shit. And every year he's just like stepped up a bit more. But he's like a jumper, I'd say. He's more of a jumper than a racer.
He's got some pop on him, hasn't
Holy shit, the kid goes so high.
He goes high, doesn't he?
So high. He's such a muscle. He's just...
He goes up in the air, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's sick.
Sam Cafano, 42 races under his belt, 12 wins. He's all right.
Nice.
He's all right.
Yeah, I mean, he is a ripper, Sammy, that's for sure.
Are we going to see... I'm going to lead on to something now. Are we going to see these guys part of a UCI elite team racing?
I wouldn't do that to them. I wouldn't put them through that.
We're not going to.
I wouldn't do that to.
We're not going to see him clipped in.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing I sold to Cannondale was diverse riders, yeah. And I feel like doing something for an extended period, yeah, you will get amazing at it, but you can also lose your enthusiasm. So I want to try and get to as many different kinds of bike event throughout the season as we can, and not just focus on one. And I know that there will be times each of them excel than the other a bit more or whatever, but just to cover all bases and keep us rounding, I think.
So we're going to see them at some races?
Yeah, there will be some races. There will not be a series, and it will not have UCI written on it, though. Okay. That is one thing for certain.
Will they be in a check shirt, or will they be in a race jersey?
It could be either at this point.
There we go.
Probably, yeah. Definitely just trying to keep it a little bit.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And then from your point of view, I kind of feel and understand that you've got you want these guys just to have fun and have a good time. If Cannondale were like, right, we want you to go to here, and you were like, well, you're not really keen on that, but they were pushing it. Are you the man in control? Are you the boss of the team?
Yeah, I think as with any paid job to a company, there's definitely some things what are just, you've got to go and tick boxes and do stuff. And do you know what?
You got to do stuff like this.
And like stuff I've done it with Santa Cruz for years, and I've been doing it all week with Bergtech, going on group rides with people. And I do genuinely enjoy that sort of stuff, because you get to meet people who are just like mad fans and amazed by what you do. You can do a little stunt and everyone loves it, and it's always good times. But no, hopefully we'll be just doing what we want.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I'm a racer, so I'd like to see you at some races. I think that would be interesting. Especially if you make the podium, you've got to sing that national anthem. You've got no excuses now. But talking of races, I'll talk about someone else, which I think is in a really unique position now. Martin Mays. Smashed the Enduro World Series, landed on the downhill circuit and just blown people's minds.
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Second at the World Champs behind Brunei, only by a gnat's whisker. And then it reports now, he's like, you know what? I did the first World Cup downhill. I did the first round of the EWS. I'll see how it goes. If I was an EWS racer, training and practicing to be out there all day for the whole weekend and whatever, or I was a top World Cup racer, in the top 10, thinking, right, I'm practicing now for optimum 4-minute runs and whatever. And I got this dude here, sat there, flipping a coin.
Mad, innit?
How's he done that? Where's he come from? He lives in Belgium.
No, I know, but I think, mate, having the ability to race 8+ stages, was definitely a running joke for a bit between downhillers that Enduro races were slow, or they were failed downhillers and all the rest of it, mate. But let me tell you, after 5 years of them all doing it, however long it's been running, they are shit hot and they are rapid. And so to sustain the speed he does for 8 stages, 2 days, whatever, all that time, I mean, he's chilling coming to downhill really, because they don't ride, they're not cruising, they're pushing it on little bikes. So,
as that was the saying, downhillers don't die, they race enduro.
yeah, no. Funny, isn't it?
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he performs, and you know, I just thought that to get your point of view on that.
Oh man, I've got nothing but respect for dude.
If you were a downhill race, if you was him,
insane.
If you was him,
yeah, but check Eddie out. Eddie's also mixing it up in both.
He is,
Eddie Masters, he's another one who's, because Eddie, you go riding with Eddie in Morzine, and he'll have been out till 2 or 3 in the morning, off his head, bladdered, and then he'll go and do fucking 2,000 metres climbing the next day. Like, he's just got mad work ethic, and I just don't think...
That just sounds like a normal Masters veterans rider at the British Downhill Series.
Ah, mate, come and pedal up some of them hills with them, they go at pace.
Mate, we never used to go to bed. That was the difference.
Yeah, never used to go to bed.
We used to go straight into the race and the next day. So, here's an interesting one then. So, we know that you're riding a lot of more different stuff. Much BMX going on in your lifestyle?
Yeah, been riding loads of BMX actually, especially this time of year, just getting a ride indoors so you don't get everything piss wet. It's so nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's quite a few skate parks around, and yeah, it's a mad one. I think, like, with our 50-1 stuff going all jibby on our mountain bikes, there's a lot what transfers, and you can learn new little bits on your BMX and switch it over, and yeah, it's just a fresh look on it, innit?
So 50-1, there's a good question. You, PE,
Loose
Sambo, and Sam Dale, you 4. What is 50-1?
Just what we all love doing. Just, I don't know, we just needed a name. We started as All the Lads. That was our initial brand.
Yeah.
And we were sort of having a bit of a joke and everything with that. And then everyone seemed to respond quite well to it. They liked what we were doing, and there was a bit of traction with our tie-dye T-shirts and all that.
Some socks.
So yeah, then we're building some mini bikes one day, and Sambo's dad come out with 50-1 for... We had these little 2-strokes with like auto mix on them, you know, where it's got an oil tank and it's like, and they were running shit and all the rest of it. Sambo's dad was like, get that fucked off and get them on 50-1, and I'm like, right, yeah, that's
50-1.
And yeah, so we just basically needed a name to rebrand our little group, and we started the YouTube channel and just showed everyone what we do. That's what 50-1 is, just going and playing in the woods with the boys, doesn't matter where or how, just getting a session out of it.
Some nice road trips.
Yeah, exactly. Just the whole lifestyle, innit? Just riding whatever you fancy, whatever you see, and making the most out of it.
So this is when I might upset you now, because I might say, I call this, you know, that skids and I call it the skids and wheelies, check shirts, skids and wheelies. I call that the Josh Bryceland effect. Insta famous. Everyone wants to put an edit out there. And I don't want to, and this sounds really bad, right? But are you affecting, and this isn't you personally, but do you know what I mean? Is that effect now, like, from the downhill scene? You know, the kids can't get, you know, don't want to go and race downhill. Is downhill cool anymore?
Don't know.
That's an interesting question, do you know what I mean? Like, riding in all your race kit, or doing some skids and wheelies and jibbing around in a check shirt, having fun with your mates. Well, I know what the answer is, because more people are doing that.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is this, like, ultimately, what are we trying to get out of the activity of riding bikes? You want to feel good, you want to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
You go to a race every weekend, 5 times out of 10, you're not going to finish the race where you wanted. Yeah. Now you just spent 300 quid, fuel, hotel, entries, whatever. You go on to your race, you come away unhappy. Whereas if you just go out in the woods, doing what makes you feel nice, you've come away happy. And that's why we ride bikes in the first place. And it's like trying to quantify how good you've done against other people, what you can't control. It's like, yeah, well, nice. Or just like get a jam session going where everyone's feeling good because everyone's progressing, and there's no like, you're better than him. It's just like everyone loves it. Which is like, that's what we're about, isn't it? Just good times.
I was talking to Stu Hughes about this, and we were on about dirt jumping. When we used to go dirt jumping when we were your age, 20 years ago. But we had the time of our lives. There was no pressure. Everyone encouraged each other. Yeah, you might be better than me. He's better than, you know, but everyone just pushed each other.
Yeah.
And they were the best days of our lives.
Exactly, and it's just taking back to the woods, isn't it? Just that session vibe on any downhill track you're on. It's just.
So you're having fun on a bike. Does that mean that you're not training anymore? You're not down the gym doing some press-ups?
No, I've not been in the gym since the winter. I came back from my broken foot.
Yeah.
15. That was the last winter I trained, really. But just ride now. I do yoga once a week. I fucking love my yoga.
Can you what's that one when you do that behind your back?
Oh no.
You not do that one?
I'm not good at it.
Oh.
But I love doing it. I used to be so stiff.
Is that because of the women that are there, or in that active?
Well, my girlfriend's always there.
Oh, is she there? Is she? Oh, you got a woman.
Yeah.
How long's that been?
4 years. Yeah. Long time, mate.
Any news?
No.
No news.
No news.
No news.
Chilling. She's a good girl.
One day, maybe, if she's the right one. The current Mrs. Bryceland. How many kids would you have?
I don't know. 1 or 2, innit? There's enough people on this planet already.
There's a few of them about, ain't there? There's a few of them. So we sort of talking about the future of, we're talking about downhill and, downhill racing, because that's where I'm from, that's where you're from. Here's an interesting one. Red Bull released some figures. Well, they didn't release figures, but they said that the cross-country had more viewing figures than the downhill.
No
last
way.
year. Yeah, did you see that?
No way, nah.
Which is...
What were the figures?
They didn't release the figures. Whether it was 1 more or 10,000. I think it was significantly more people watched.
That's crazy, mate.
The cross-country than the downhill. I guess it's that the Europeans go mad for it, don't they? In Switzerland and stuff like that, in Austria. They go.
Well, yeah. Anywhere in Europe you go and pedal up a hill, there's a lot of men pedaling up it too, and then we just turn around and ride back down the road, don't we? Just fitness heads.
So interesting for me, because I had a bit of insight into. There's a big man here. Hello, Stephen.
How long are you going to be?
Nice, we're back in.
Back in. We're not going to be long.
Round 2, ding, ding, ding.
Sweet, good to go.
Right, we've just had a bit of lunch. PT very kindly interrupted us, which is fine.
You did.
But the guys at Bird Tech have looked after us. Talking about Red Bull and stuff and downhill and cross-country, Red Bull released some, not figures, but made a statement that said that cross-country viewing figures last year, 2018, were higher than the downhill, which is...
Crazy. I did not expect that.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of good stuff about downhill viewership, but maybe it's just even better.
So,
Cross country was an Olympic sport, wasn't it? I wonder if that had any play. Like all the hype.
And all them Europeans.
Oh, Euros.
In Switzerland, Austria, and whatever, they love a bit of a Lycra XC, don't they? That high seat post. But the cross country courses are good. I wouldn't want to ride some of them courses with a seat post up here and they're flat out, aren't they? Some of those tracks?
Big time, especially for the setups, like you say.
Have you ever raced cross country?
No. No. I haven't.
Not yet.
I don't plan to.
Cyclocross?
No, I've never even done that.
So there's an interesting, so just talking about that though, going back to Europe, Red Bull and, what they're doing with the World Cups. I mean, the downhill's been about as exciting as it's ever been, from a racing point of view, I feel.
I'd agree. I watch it myself, I would agree.
But then there's the talk about the tracks. The tracks are getting dumbed down. I know everyone's spoken about this a lot. Are they making the tracks like when you watch Ski Sunday? They've got to cut all the trees down so they can get the camera angles. And now we're seeing a lot of tracks like Fort William World Cup. The end of the Fort William track. It's all the motorway section with the jumps.
In Leogang, mate, they dozed like this whole section of forest just so we could film it all in one shot. It was pretty sad.
That's sad for the trees.
Yeah,
but
for
the riders as well, or do they want to ride the rough routes?
It's one of them, innit? Everything changes. Nothing ever stays the same for ages. And downhill's evolution is toward straighter, faster, more viewer-friendly stuff. Because at the end of the day, people watching people trying to get through some techie thing. If you're a rider's rider, yeah, you appreciate it, but we're trying to bring in people from outside the sport, aren't we? So we just want it to look fast and impressive.
You know, because to me, when I look at it now, you know, downhill mountain biking, is it getting the coverage that it deserves? You know, are people actually seeing it that aren't into mountain biking? The man in the street, the kid in the street, is he seeing it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's what Red Bull want to do, is make it mainstream, innit? But it's tough. I think it's just growing. There's room for everything, isn't there?
It's still growing. You know, I like a track with some jumps. We spoke about Black Mountains. To me, that's you know, best place in the world for me to go and ride a bike on that moto line. But you know, we've seen riders now aren't riding that steep technical tracks. You know, when you go out riding, they all want to go to places like Black Mountains, like Windhill.
I don't know.
Are they riding steep technical courses now, the young kids?
I don't know. It's whatever you build, innit? If you got steep, a lot of people don't have steep technical terrain on the doorstep because it's pretty. All the steep stuff around here is only 10 seconds long if it is steep. So I don't know. Just more. I think people are just open to ride whatever they can. It's nice that now with the bikes you don't have to go to a bike park to enjoy yourself in your bike. You can ride it anywhere.
And the bikes have changed. You know, like I remember seeing you on a V10, and now you're riding you know, well, we know a Cannondale Habit comes in, I think it's 130mm stock.
Yeah.
So you're riding. I'm just going to have a look at your bike over there actually at half time. Talk us through it. You know, you've got not 29-inch wheels on it.
No, it's a pretty custom setup, and it is pretty aggressive too. They sell it with a 130mm fork in 29, like you said, and when we had them in 29, we had a 140 fork on them. And I love the bike, even in 29. I do. It's like low BB, slack head angle, and I got a medium because what the message I want to put out there is have fun and enjoy bikes. And I think with all bike sizes generally growing, like every bike you get now, a large is so long, and to have like a bit of a play and just feel fun, you know, it's hard on a big bike. So I've sized down. I've got a medium. And we put the 27 wheels on it. So we put the flip chip in high to get the bottom bracket a bit higher, and then also put a 160 fork on it. So the thing's steep and it's like, well, it's slack, it's raked out.
But you're doing big things, do you know what I mean? So you need a bigger fork, even though you might land smooth.
Just trying to do a bit of everything, but it just that high front end for me, because I've not spread myself out lengthways. Sort of spread myself out height-wise because of a real high bar.
Because on your downhill bike, you used to have that on the headset, didn't you? You used to have it shoved forward, didn't you?
It depends. When the large first came out, it was too big for me, so I had it backward.
Oh, okay.
But then by the end of the thing, I did have it forward on a large, but Petey and Greg were on XXL, so
pushed right
I was still quite a bit behind them.
But you're 6'2" and you're riding a medium. Now that is a surprise for me. You know, and I'm thinking, well, maybe it is because you can just throw it around, then it's a bit more, not like a BMX, but it is more manoeuvrable due to the size.
Yeah, well, I mean, you send a bike what's too big for you, get on it and ride down a hill, and you'll feel safe as houses.
Yeah.
You know, it'll just take things, and you'll be stable, and you'll be comfortable. But if you take a bike what's a size too small for you, every little rock you hit, you can make a jump out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's completely the other way. The stability or whatever might not be there, but for someone like me, that's not what I'm looking for in a bike. You know, I know I can make it do roughly what I want to anyway. So just having that playfulness of just being able to hop about here, hit that berm, but still get high and nibble about. And you're on these big bikes, you're going so fast, you're just making it one smooth thing, and you don't feel anything. And it's like, you get more for your money on a little bike. You get loads more out of it, you know what I mean?
Exactly. No, I know what you mean. Exactly. You know, always a good insight. More on bike stuff. Have you got an e-bike?
I don't, but I will be getting one. I've got one on order.
Have you?
Yeah, fucking right. I can't wait. My old man's had one for a couple of years, and he just speaks so highly of it. And he never really used to ride that much. He'd come out like, I'd ride with him once, twice a year for 2 or 3 miles, and he'd be buzzing. But now he does 30 miles a couple of times a week.
So what would you use it for?
Shit I couldn't do on a normal bike, I reckon. I want to try and make some mad technical tracks with like uphill takeoffs into big fadeaways.
Yeah.
Just real weird shit, but just getting more riding time, innit? You get double your ride time, basically, or double the amount of stuff in the same ride time.
Yeah,
So,
I've got one and I use it for I find
you?
I got some short tracks, like you mentioned Kimber. I can do like 30 runs.
Up with yourself, innit?
Yeah.
Up with yourself on your own bike is dreamy.
And they're quite heavy, so they're pretty planted in the corners. I mean, I love mine, but there you go.
That's the thing, I'm not ridden yet, so I can't, but that does sound good.
But I am 20 years older than you.
I know, that is also a thing. I did give myself a limit, but
Yeah.
I'm closing in on 30, so
But,
we'll go with that.
You know what? I still ride my normal bike probably 70% more than what I'd ride the e-bike.
That's it, innit? That's it.
So, yeah, you're not getting any younger. So you're 28. You're 29 on the 3rd of March. Pisces?
Don't know what I am actually.
I don't
Not
know.
sure.
How long have you got left? Not on this earth. I don't want to
Well,
put a date on that. You know, we've seen people now like, you know, people like Brian Lope, still an ambassador at...
I know.
He's probably my age. He's probably 47, 48. You know, can you keep going?
I'm not, to be honest, I've no goal. I like, the deal I'm on now gave me the opportunity to get a few young lads on a ride, on a deal,
Yeah.
bit of money for them, and it's like, that felt really good. That's so nice to be able to do that. I feel like, whatever, I don't know, I've signed for 3 years with Cannondale, so if they're liking what we're doing at the end of it and I'm still enjoying it, we'll see what happens. But honestly, I feel like I've had so much out of mountain biking in my short career. It's been...
So, downhillers don't die. They go enduro. Unless you're Marty Mays, of course.
Then after that you go
Yeah.
jibbing, get a
Yeah.
few more years out of that.
Where can you make more money these days, in downhill or enduro?
I don't do either, so I wouldn't know, but rumoured has it Gwyn's top man, isn't
Yeah.
he? Mr fucking Ferrari or whatever.
No, he's got McLaren.
That's what he's got,
He's got
McLaren.
I think he's had 2. I think this is his second one. And you saw his house. Did you see his house
Yeah,
when Warner interviewed him?
yeah, it's wild, isn't
So
it?
he's... You know what I think...
I just think it's crazy though. Think how many privateers are like battling
Yeah.
and funding their own shit to get around the World Cup circuit. And he's driving a McLaren around, feeling, oh yeah.
Surely he deserves it, though, if he is top of the tree.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, deserve. You can justify it however you want,
Yeah,
but
we
it's
see
pretty gnarly, isn't it?
we see, any moment that could be the end of your career. One crash, one tree.
He wants it, he works super hard for it, there's no
Yeah.
doubt.
So-
I would not be willing to push it as hard as him,
Yeah.
week in, week out.
Yeah.
He's a psycho, isn't he?
So here's a question for you then. So we see footballers, and they'll tell you how much they earn. We see it in the he's just been bought for 50 million and he earns 100 grand a week. If the downhill or mountain bikers said, yeah, you know, right, I'm earning this much, and everyone said yeah, and we told the truth, would that not make people get paid more money? Because then you can say, well, actually, you know
Yeah,
what?
for sure.
He's top 10 and he earns 100 grand a year. Well, I'm top 5, so I want to earn 200 grand a year.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that probably plays into their hands that everyone's so shy and secretive about it,
Yeah.
because then no one knows, do they? But into the hands of bike companies, I mean. But like Peter's always taught me, I mean, you're worth whatever you can get. It comes down to your negotiating power. And if you've got a figure in your head and you're willing to stand up for yourself, talk the talk, tell them what you're going to do and front it out, then you can go and get it. And Gwyn's obviously just doing that on a mad scale, isn't he? But
Yeah.
one of them. I couldn't give a fuck who's the highest earner. I was just bothered. Bellends. Well, not Bellends. One of them, innit? Money don't make you happy, and it's just complicating and weird, innit?
So what are you going to do in 10 years' time when you're 38? 20 years' time when you're 48, my age?
We will see, mate.
Skids and wheelies?
Come
or
back to me then and we'll find out.
do another interview?
Yeah, let's do it. 10 years' time.
We'll do it. So you know what, I think, you know, the last thing, two last things I really want to say is, I think you look really happy now. You know, and we saw that thing in the BBC did a thing about depression and cycling, and it's a real good way. You know, how are you feeling? You know, now you're away from that racing, you're away from that pressure. How is life for Josh Bryceland?
Mint, mate. Really, it was like toward the end of the racing thing, I did feel like each World Cup looming in my future was like this dark cloud I had to go into and do something and now it's just like, I don't know, I'm right excited for everything this year, upcoming trips and it's definitely very different, and I think that's just me personally. I don't necessarily thrive in that high pressure situation where some people do, so I just like to keep it a bit more consistent. And yeah, mate, just riding, and the thing is as well, when you're riding to train for something, there's always a goal to every ride and you want to go out and get fit or go, but when you just ride for riding, you just reap the rewards so much more, don't you?
I think from seeing you from the start of your career, which was only from racing, I never saw you starting riding bikes, but I think you've gone full circle now.
Totally,
I think
totally,
you've been at the
100%.
top, and you know what, and now you're going back to being a kid,
Well,
doing skids and wheelies.
A lot of my young life was so driven toward becoming that racer. There was a lot of aspects of that when I was younger. I'd just try and just do runs and runs and runs and get faster and faster. So driven. You kind of maybe missed out on a bit of that, what I'm now reliving or whatever, innit? But
Reliving
so good.
the party life, skids and wheelies.
Yeah, not even partying. I definitely got my partying out of the way when I was downhill, and we did a hell of a lot of that because of all that pressure, man.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you can guarantee most World Cups will be a wild after party, just because everyone's so pent up and then they have that release and it just goes mental, doesn't it?
If we're at an after party now, after a World Cup, and it's going to go off, do you know what I mean? There's some big geezers, the bouncers, they're going to batter us. Who would you want stood next to you? Which racer? Who's the man you could count on?
Sambo or Brook, innit? One of them two, and I had both of them in that last encounter, so it helped a lot.
Do you know what I'd have? Kavarik.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but the thing with Kavarik, if you give him one beer too many, he'll be fighting you. He'll forget who the enemy is.
And who's the last person you'd want sat next to you? Who's going to run? Who's going to run out that fire escape first and just leave you stood there on your own?
Greg.
Minar?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm joking shit. I've never actually had a fight with him. I've had a fight with him, but not alongside him.
Do you know I reckon to be the first to run out that door? Warner.
Yeah, 100%.
Probably the biggest lad there would be the first one at that front door. But there we go. Listen,
Nice,
I've had a fantastic time. I've known you for a long time. And what I'd like to say is, I'm going to say your mum and dad have done a fantastic job because you've raced, you've just been a good kid. Do you know what I mean? You've just been a nice lad.
We've had our moments though, haven't we? But
as a race organiser,
as
a race organiser, it's like being the England football manager. You can never win. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm always telling people off for cutting the course,
and little shits like
jumping
me.
and doing little things that they shouldn't be doing, having fires and fireworks and things like that. But do you know what I mean? It's been a pleasure. I'm not just saying that because you're sat in there. You're a good kid, and carry on being a good kid. Do you know what I mean? Peter Pan. Just keep living the dream. Keep living the dream, kid. And we'll go riding on that e-bike.
Yeah.
Look after yourself. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.
Cheers, Pinkbike.
It's been emotional.
Hell yeah. Job done.